Hey guys, it is February 2025 and deer season is officially over with. Wah, wah. But the good news is this is postseason scouting time, and I wanted to make a video, and the title of the video today is Hunting Season's Over, Now What? And if you understand the benefits of how fruitful postseason scouting can be, you get really excited. Matter of fact, deer season is a marathon. I understand that. It's hard on us physically, financially, emotionally, especially if we didn't get a deer, okay, or the buck that you're after specifically. But even if you did, it can be a long, grueling season. It's hard, right? It's difficult, but it's rewarding because of the challenge, right? So the winter is a really good time to prepare for the upcoming fall because you can see last year's rut sign, rubs, scrapes, bedding areas, heavy trails. And yes, the concentration of activity in a smaller area is not really indicative of what you're going to find in September, October, and even November. But you can see where the deer travel during the late season. So if you haven't tagged out in the early to mid-season, what you find for postseason scouting this time of year can really help you for next year in case you don't tag out early. If you understand the benefits of how good postseason scouting can be, matter of fact, it's almost like cheating. It's so good because you can go deep into a bedding area and you can traverse every square inch of your property with no negative ramifications for the upcoming season, right? And you really can see the lay of the land, the terrain features, and I hunt deer. I don't hunt necessarily deer sign. I get excited about scrapes, especially big primary, heavily used scrapes, which you can find in the postseason scouting. But a lot of times, the deer have already come through that area. So when you find active, aggressive, heavily used and fresh sign, that's exciting. Your heart skips a beat, you get excited, your adrenaline starts kicking in, but the deer was already there. So I like to do postseason scouting because you can anticipate where the deer are going to be in the fall based on the sign that you find after the season ends, right? So postseason scouting is really, really beneficial. The second point I want to talk about is shed hunting. And there's a difference between shed hunting and postseason scouting. And you can be scouting at the same time that you are shed hunting, but I don't recommend it because it's really hard to find antlers already. Because they look like a stick among an ocean of sticks. And so as you're looking at the ground for that type of purpose, you're looking for an antler, it's hard to remind yourself of the 10,000 foot view of why you're out there. When you're looking for sign and looking at terrain and figuring out why deer are using specific areas of your farm, that's a different mindset than looking at the ground 5-10 yards out in front of you with your head flexed forward. It's just different. So I don't recommend, if you're going to go shed hunting, focus only on shed hunting. And if you're going to focus on scouting, focus on just that so that you're not distracted. Because if your mind is thinking about two different things, you're not going to be successful in finding sheds and vice versa. So, okay, but I'm going to talk about shed hunting. So it's been my experience that most deer drop in February. I think I find about 10, maybe 15% in late December through mid-January, about 60-70% from mid-January until the end of February, and the remaining 10, maybe 20% in early March. I found these three sheds right here in December. This is a really nice, massive 2-year-old that I found next to one of my cameras on December 30th. He dropped this one on December 28th, and he dropped his left side on the 23rd to 24th of December. I still haven't found it yet, but I really haven't pursued shed hunting on this farm too much yet. I've gone there a few times, but only on the outside perimeter of the bedding area. This one I found next to a pond with my son Dakota. He wrote his name on it. And then this one I found in December as well, right on an access road, coming into the farm just to check cameras. I found this match set in January, this one with my son Dakota, and then this one, the G2 was just broke off. Squirrels got to it. It was about 8 yards away from this one. but it was tines down and it was covered in snow, and the snow was probably 85% melted, but it was tines down just on the other side of a hump by a log, and the snow covered up, and I just missed it. We just walked by it probably 2-3 times. But we have a match set here. Nice 2-year-old 8-point. This one we found a buck I call Turkey Foot. He's kind of a newer deer on the farm, a 2-year-old. And I found that with my son as well. Found a deadhead, massive 8-point. Short tine deer, but really nice big 5-inch bases. Just never was going to be a tall tine deer, but we found him probably killed by a bobcat. There's a bobcat den with tracks everywhere and legs strewn out all over the mouth of the den. And then we found this deadhead right next to it. Bobcat are small, but they're very aggressive and absolute efficient killers. And yes, they do kill deer. This is a beautiful match set 2-year-old. I didn't have any more of a creative name for him other than New Guy. He showed up in mid-January for the first time. So I don't know if his core home range is going to be part of the farm this year, but he's a 2-year-old, 10-point, really short, probably 7/8 of an inch brow tine on the right. But this is a strong tine length side with a little dagger on his G2, and then here's his left side. We found these about 75-80 yards apart. And then here's the big boy that I found, a buck I call Atlas. And he's about 145-inch class mainframe 8-point. He's been like that for about 3 years now. And there's some much bigger deer on the farm, but we found this, I want to say the 26th of January, maybe 28th. And it was right off the edge of a trail. Good mass. 5-inch circumference measurement between the G2 and 3 here. So, shed hunting, just to touch on shed hunting a little bit. Some conditions that are perfect. First of all, number one, first and foremost, the most important tip is that you have to wait until they drop. It's only February 3rd, but I don't really start typically really shed hunting until about the 15th, 20th of February. And I like to go when it's overcast, because if you go in when it's sunny, and there's so many shed hunting tips. I made a couple already, but there's so many shed hunting tips online, but it's really fun to talk about. But the conditions are really best suited on overcast days, because when it's sunny out, there's shadows all over the farm, and it's really hard to find them. Number two, if you do go and it's sunny and you have no choice, that's the time that you have to go. You want to walk when the sun is at your back, at least. That way they light up a little bit easier. And we found this shed right here on a very sunny day. My son was begging me to take him shed hunting. And I knew this shed was somewhere pretty close. And we found it about 70 yards away from where I anticipated it being, which is kind of cool. But it was a sunny day. So we started on the south end of the farm, and with the sun at our back, we were facing up on this hillside, and we found it pretty easily. But you want to go on overcast days, preferably, or even like a light rain is really nice, because then the antlers tend to pop out and stick out like a sore thumb. So, but you want to go when they drop, and every farm is different. On this farm where I found most of these sheds, it's very hilly, and there's not much ag for at least a half a mile in any direction. Matter of fact, most of the ag is only in one direction, to the east of the farm, and it's at least a half a mile away. So we had some bitter single-digit temperatures, and we had some snow in January, and then coupled with the hilly terrain, the deer are more stressed than on farms where it's flat and there's plenty of ag. So that's why I concentrated on that farm so far the most, and that's where we found most of the sheds. There are a few big deer that are 4, 5, 6 years old. There's one deer that's probably 7 or 8 years old, and he's still holding as of January 31st. So you have to monitor either in person, stay downwind of the ag fields and your food plots, kind of watch from a distance. Use your cell cameras, even a drone can help you determine where they're bedding and where they're feeding, and pick the timing, because timing is everything. They have to drop before you're going to find them, obviously. Keep in mind that where you find sheds in January and February is more than likely not where you're going to be able to kill that deer in October, right? So again, 90% of the game is in probably 10% of the habitat. That's true across the board throughout the entire season, but where they feed, on a white oak acorn flat is not going to be necessarily where they're going to be feeding, come January, like on a combine cornfield, right? And the two could be a mile apart. So, just keep that in mind, have fun with it. But it definitely, it's nice to have a history with the deer and to pick up some of his white gold. And this is the time of year to do that. Just wait until they drop before you go in there. Okay, so late season, January through March, is also a good time to clear shooting lanes and access trails. The disturbance that you make in a deer's bedroom, especially, or anywhere near where a buck is bedding, a mature buck, is an absolute mortal sin. It's kind of a no-no, in my opinion. Anywhere close to the beginning of bow season. And so, but if you clear shooting lanes and make that disturbance in January, February, March, there are several months in your favor. They can act as a cooling off period where that deer can acclimate to those changes. Figure if someone breaks into your house in the middle of the night, they're not going to know where everything is, but every inch of your bedroom, kitchen, living room, and you can walk around in the dark quite easily because every inch of it, right? But deer live out there 24/7. We just visit. So any type of change and alteration physically, any TSI management, cutting practices like hinge cutting, for example, or shooting lanes or hanging stands, all that kind of disturbance is best suited to be done now in the winter and in the postseason, so that deer have a chance to acclimate to those changes, so that way you have the element of surprise in your favor come season. Stand maintenance, this is also the time to take down stands. I use exclusively lone wolf stands, and I want to check those straps, the seats, the Versa buttons, all the connections, the cables, all that type of stuff, and sometimes replace even nuts and bolts, that way, safety is number one. So late season is the time to do that. On TSI, you can create hinge cuts and create bedding areas in places that are best suited for the predominant wind directions for the fall, so that you can be downwind of those bedding areas. But this is the best time to do that. January through March is the time that I do consulting. I own Mature Whitetail Strategies, LLC, and I help hunters become more successful in their property. Whether you're leasing, you're owning a property, or it's permission based, and you can have some laterality to put in some food plots, that type of thing, depending on your situation. And even if you're a public land hunter and you want to try to figure out and decipher how to hunt around other people and figure out deer on public property on land where deer are pressured, I can help out. But this is the time that I do that. And again, I'm looking for terrain features. I'm looking for, yes, I pay attention to last year's deer sign, that's important, but I love to focus on terrain because big deer use the different parts of the farm compared to the younger deer, the younger bucks, and the does. They don't necessarily access food sources the same way. They don't bed in the same areas, and so you want to look, and this is the time of the year to do that because you don't have the ticks, you don't have the poison ivy, you can see every terrain feature, and the winter is the absolute best time to do that. So that's when I do that. I have an announcement to make. I'm pretty excited about this. Last point I want to mention in this video, and I'll wrap it up here. August 9th through the 10th, I'm having a Whitetail Workshop Weekend, and I'll attach a flyer at the end of the video so that you guys can pause or screenshot it, and then you'll have it. But on one of my best farms located on the Kentucky River, I'm going to be with Justin Sinan of the Runnin' and Gunnin' podcast. He's the host of that show. He and I are going to be doing a whitetail workshop And during that workshop, it's exciting because we're going to talk about everything that we've done for the last combined 54 years of bow hunting experience. And we've taken about 30 Pope and Youngs with the bow. And so we're going to share that experience with everybody and spill the beans, man. Just talk about where we put cameras and where we make mock scrapes and where we hang stands and for what reason. And we're talking about thermals and using terrain features for access and wind direction, which is the most important, for stand access to your advantage. And food plot location and installation and yada yada yada. We're going to talk about all this stuff. It's being a fun 2-day event. I'm going to have coffee and donuts for everybody both days, and then provide lunch for everybody both Saturday and Sunday. So that'll be kind of fun. Justin is a big buck slayer himself. He's killed some really nice bucks over the years. He's contributed footage for the Lone Wolf Whitetail Dixon's TV show, as I have. He's also a pro staff for Osseo Camo. Just an all-around good guy and buck killing machine. So the two of us are going to have a weekend workshop, and there'll be places for guys to camp out if they want to stay on the premises Friday and Saturday, which is cool. I'll have a bonfire and just a good time and camaraderie with like-minded bow hunters, right? So we're going to be doing that August 9th and 10th, and the idea is to show what a finished farm looks like as far as food plots, water holes, and where we place mock scrapes, and how we access and how we hunt a farm early season, mid-season, and late season. Justin will be talking about saddle hunting and mobile hunting, as I will. He's more of the saddle hunter, more of the fixed position stand, but I do keep an extra Lone Wolf .75 at the ready, and if I have to move, I will do that. Lone Wolf makes a phenomenal product, of course, with a great history and reputation. Safe, quality, easy, quick, quiet killing machine stands. They're incredible. I've been using them since 1990, so a long time. But we're both going to be discussing the leapfrog kind of method. Okay, I'll talk about that in person on the workshop, and being mobile and keeping the big matured bucks in the dark, so that you can kill them. But thanks for tuning in. I hope that you guys can attend the workshop in August. On that flyer, Justin and my contact number is on there, so you guys can reach out either on Instagram, Facebook, or just give us a call, and we can sign up. Spots are limited. We're going to limit the workshop to 20 people, and so it's first come, first serve. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.